here?
I would need to double check the files on this. I think the anticipation was that you would all be here for this.
Yeah, me too. So,
Yeah,
and I suspect he will. I know he said he was going to be here, so we'll just wait a moment.
just for clarity, the bylaw only calls
I would need
for.
to double check the files on this. I think the anticipation was that you would all be here for this.
Yeah, me too. So,
Yeah,
and I suspect he will. I know he said he was going to be here, so we'll just wait a moment. Yeah.
just
Sorry, everyone. My computer isn't letting me join on Zoom, so I'm right now just on my phone. I'm going to try to get the computer Zoom to work so I don't have to hold the phone awkwardly.
Well, your phone works because we see you and your voice is coming through just fine. But
Fair
I
enough.
also understand I have to try and hold it. Councillor Markov-Swain, welcome.
Hello, friends.
So, welcome to the April 13th, 2023 regular board meeting of the Edmonton Metropolitan Transit Services Commission. I would just like to say it's the last meeting of the board, and I'm sure we'll all talk about that a little bit later as we go through. But I'd like to welcome all who are here online, not only the board and staff and support who are here, but those who are viewing us online as well. So I'd like to remind all of us that we are recording this meeting and it's being live streamed on the YouTube for public. And the location of today's meeting, as I said, is online. And and as we start off every board meeting, and it's because it's the right thing to do, and it is my honor to do, I'd like to start with a land acknowledgement. So on behalf of the board, we would like to acknowledge the traditional land on which we are gathered as Treaty 6 land. We would like to thank the diverse Indigenous peoples whose ancestors' footsteps have marked this territory for centuries, such as the Cree, Dene, Saulteaux, Nakota Sioux, and Blackfoot peoples. We also acknowledge this as the Métis homeland and the home of the largest concentration of Inuits south of the 60th parallel. It is a welcoming place for all peoples who come from around the world to share the Edmonton metropolitan region as home. And with that, we'll move on to the agenda, and it's on the screen before you. And Councillor Finstad, could I impose upon you to move the approval of the agenda?
Be very honored to do so. I move the April 13th, 2023 agenda be adopted as presented.
Thank you very much. And using the raise the hand function, just vote, call the question, all in favor. And that is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, unanimous. Thank you very much, everyone. Okay, we have a consent agenda, which is the approval of the March 16th, 2023 regular board minutes. Who would like to make this motion? Okay, thank you, Councillor Houston.
Yeah, I'd like to move the approval of the March 16th, 2023 regular board meeting minutes.
Thank you very much, sir. I'll call a question. Raise your hand, please. And that's passed unanimously. Thank you very much. Moving right along now, we've got the wind down activity status update, and I'll turn that over to you, Mr. Jankowski.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chair. Just very short and sweet. We are reaching completion of all the wind down activities as per the board approved wind down plan. All of the outstanding EMTSC financial liabilities have effectively been addressed, with the exception of the very final payments that will be due to those parties that have to stay on until the very bitter end. An agreement has been finalized with the EMRB for post-dissolution records, custody and archives. And I'm pleased to report also that the EMRB now has activated a website that will have linkages to all of the pertinent EMTSC technical information and history. And lastly, that a contract has now been executed with Lori Shea Smith for post-employee termination financial accounting services to assist the chair and the vice chair in the very final activities associated with closing off the business of the commission immediately prior to dissolution. So I'm happy to answer questions here or specific to the financial liabilities in camera, but all is effectively in place to allow the board to conclude all of its activities.
Thank you very much, Mr. Jankowski. Any questions from members of the board? Councillor Finstad.
Yes, thank you. Mr. Jankowski, just a question. I know I attempted on a few occasions to execute the digital signing authority when necessary, so that has had any success with that. Is that still needed for the final steps, or is that something that we can do without?
I think Lori will be better poised to answer that, but I do believe that once my employment has been terminated for the very final execution of the final financial arrangements and to allow the bank to complete the financial transactions, your signature as well as the chair's signature will be required. So yes, I think we need to ensure that you've got that capacity or that ability to execute that.
Okay, it would be very easy for me to attend the offices when appropriate with Lori Shea and have that looked after.
Thank you. Well, the offices under our agreement will only be in existence until the end of this month, so it'll have to be between now and then.
I can make that work. Thank you.
Fair enough. Any other questions? And thank you for that, by the way. Any other questions, members of the board? Okay, seeing now none, we have a motion. Thank you, Councillor Lori. If you would make the motion, please.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I'll move that the board accept the wind down activity status update as information.
Thank you very much. I accept that motion. Any opening comments?
No, just want to express my sincere thanks to Mr. Jankowski and the staff that's remaining and that have already departed for all of their hard work to prudently and appropriately complete the wind down activities in a very quick fashion as to limit any future expenses for this endeavor.
Any other comments by members of the board? Seeing none, I'm going to ask if you want to close, but I suspect that was an opening and a close all at once. So I'll call the question. All in favor, please raise your hand. And that's carried unanimously. Thank you very much. And Mr. Vice Chair, Councillor Finstad, if I could get you to take the chair, and it would be I think my duty to move this particular motion.
Thank you, Mr. Chair, Wes. It's my honor to take over the reins at this point in time so that you can make the one of the final motions, and I guess the decisive motion when it comes to the status of the EMTSC. So please, Mr. Broadhead, Councillor Broadhead, please make your motion.
Thank you very much, sir. I move that as a result of the City of Edmonton's notice to withdraw from the Commission, which has effectively rendered the Commission unable to deliver on the original stated mandate, The commission shall be disestablished effective May the 31st of 23.
Thank you very much for that. The chair accepts the motion. Do you have any opening comments you'd like to
I
make?
do, and thank you very much, sir. I thought long and hard about what I would say today. But I have to tell you that my inner voice wants to say a lot of things, but in the end, there's only one thing to say, and that is that we fought the good fight. I look at our board, and we were here, and we put a lot of work into making this commission work hard and to work. And for political reasons, it didn't work this time, and for many reasons. And we all have opinions on whether those reasons were valid or invalid. But I think the one thing that we can't miss is that the original vision of the commission to provide seamless public transit services to the Edmonton region that stretched from the east in Strathcona County to the west in Spruce Grove, from the north originally from Morinville to the south to Leduc and Leduc County. But the vision is as relevant today as it was back then. Now, the fact that some members of that original vision didn't join didn't negate the fact nor the value of the vision that as it was presented. But politics is what politics is, and sometimes it requires a coalition of the willing to get hard but important work done. And for 8 years, we had that coalition of the willing. Recently, a different view was brought forward, and quite honestly, within the it just was, and it was with our primary member, and without that support, the mandate became untenable. That doesn't mean that this vision will never rise again. I firmly believe that it will. Had an opportunity to speak with the premier yesterday, and I said the operational vision and the operational case, as well as the economic case, to provide services regionally with municipalities that are focused on providing services to their residents in an effective and efficient manner, that still reigns. That vision still reigns, and the purpose of councillors of municipalities, that still is a driving factor, that we serve our community and our citizens. And a regional service delivery model for public transit will in fact come back around again, because the case is just too compelling for it to go. But I also told her that while we were building our case, we brought people from around North America to speak to us. And the one thing that they were somewhat amazed at was that we were able to, as a coalition of the willing, do this hard work voluntarily. And they were astounded, quite honestly. And when I asked them one of the things that was critical to success in their own particular municipalities, the answer that they gave me was political will. And that's what failed here. The political will to see this through the tough motion to get it operational simply wasn't there. But the vision doesn't diminish. So where do we go from here? I think the only thing left is to say thank you to those who bought into the vision and worked hard to make sure that that vision, to the best of their ability, was established and ready to go. And so to my board member, my colleagues on the board, I want to thank each one of you for the effort and the dedication that you have shown over a long period of time to make sure that this thing worked. I want to thank you, Mr. Jankowski, for your vision of what this could be and your dedication to move from Southern Ontario, move across to the prairies and come to Alberta and to the Edmonton region in particular to help us make this a reality. And you did make it a reality. The fact that we couldn't operationalize this doesn't diminish the fact that your work was well done. And I want to thank you. I want to thank all of the staff members, Lori and Brian and Lucas and Doden. I mean, and I'm missing people I know, and that's the risk of starting to name people. And for those that I haven't called on, I want to thank you for your efforts as well. I do want to point out my friend Jim McDonald, who left his manager's job in Saskatoon to come and help us operationalize this. He too saw the vision of what this could be in the Edmonton region, and unfortunately it didn't work. But again, it wasn't a result of his efforts. So anyway, I want to thank the staff, and without you, it simply wouldn't have worked, no matter how hard us elected officials would have wanted it to work. So anyway, those are my thoughts about this particular motion. It's a sad day for me. It's a kind of an emotional day for me, but you just move on, and then you don't stop working for your citizens. You don't stop trying to do what is right in your communities, and so I did have to chuckle. I was talking to a councillor from Leduc County yesterday. And he said, "Yeah, we're working together now with Leduc and Beaumont, and we're trying to get this sort of local regional thing going." And I have to tell you, I had to smile. And I said, "You know what? The vision is not dead." And so, to Councillor Munkhoff-Swain and Councillor Finstad and Councillor Gronberg and Councillor, honestly, I hope it works for you. I really do. And I know the same thing is happening between Parkland County and Stony Plain and Sherwood Park. Spruce Grove as well. So anyway, I wish you all the very best. And so anyway, here's the motion before. Those are my opening comments. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Are there any other comments that someone would like to make? And it's a tough act to follow, but Councillor Houston.
Yeah, I think, Wes, you eloquently thanked everybody from the bottom of your heart in regards to the work that went on. And I want to say to the board that had been working on this years before I got here, the amount of heavy lifting that happened in advance. But Wes, I want to sincerely thank you for your vision and your effort. You and I go back many years. We've been colleagues in the Metro region. And the good news, I think you're correct. The vision isn't dead. We are improving our relations with Stony and Parkland County, and we hope to continue to work with the City of Edmonton and the region in the delivery of an integrated transit model that still serves the needs of our citizens. It's important to recognize the work that you did and the passion that you had for this. And you know what? It was close. We got to the 10-yard line, and we didn't get across the finish line. But at the end of the day, I think there was a lot of great work, and to the staff and everybody. I think it's been mentioned how much work's been gone on. But I'd just like to say to everybody on the board that I worked with, it's been a great board, fantastic group of individuals, and really appreciate your relationship we continue to have, and we'll continue to do that. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Councillor Houston. Councillor Munkhoff-Swain, please.
Yeah, thanks. We all came into this hoping to provide a better transit system for our residents, and I think we're leaving it with that same vision, and it will carry on. For me, it's been a real pleasure to work with the board. Probably the most enjoyable and rewarding thing that I've done on my 2 terms of council. and just wanted to thank everyone for all the hard work that we've put in. I've learned a lot from each and every one of you around governance, around politics, around transit, but really learned a lot and appreciate you putting up with a lot of my dumb questions along the way. And I think, I've certainly grown as a leader for my community for this. So all is not lost on that. And as Wes mentioned, we are now looking at what we can do kind of sub-regionally, and I'm sure we'll all be back here in 5 to 10 years with the vision that this group put together. So I'll just close by thanking Paul and the team. Paul, you took a chance, and thank you for that. You've been a consummate professional the whole way through this, and just thank you for how you've managed this tough exit with class, and certainly I know that wherever you land next, it'll be highly recommended from the sport. So good luck, and thank you for everything.
Thank you, Councillor Muncroft-Swain. Councillor Laurie.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. It was tough thinking about what to say at this point in time. So unlike others, I had to write it down so I could formulate my thoughts a little more in order and try not to ramble too much, as many of you have gracefully dealt with over these years. Just simply to say that I'm disappointed that we've been forced to the consideration of this motion and left with no option of how to proceed with the Edmonton Metropolitan Region Transit Service Commission would be an understatement. I'm devastated that the time that we should be eagerly anticipating the impending launch of a true regional transit service delivery, we're instead officially confirming its demise at the 11th hour. While disappointed, I'm still incredibly proud of the work that's been completed all the way up to today, including how responsible and swift our administration was after a fatal blow was delivered to the Commission by a motion of withdrawal by the City of Edmonton. I would like to thank a few people for their contributions in the road that we have taken to date. First and initially is to the province for their original belief in this idea and the grant dollars that were provided to the municipalities in this region to put the initial business case forward to show that regional transit in the Edmonton Metro region was a good idea and it could be done with great savings and great efficiency. I'd like to thank all the initial consultants and all of the numerous municipal staff members who took on a mountain of work at the beginning of this to see us through, including through unprecedented circumstances of a global pandemic which decimated transit services around the world and still led us to formally establishing the Commission in the end. To all the elected officials of the region municipalities that were not on the board, but saw the vision and supported that the best way forward for transit in our region was together. And to the board, many of who have been on this journey since day one, back when the initial MOU was signed by the EMRB in October of 2018, to our initial board meeting of the RTSC on January 17th of 2019. I even went back and reflected on that package. And for those of you who were there, remember that one fondly. And I think we left that room going, oh boy, what did we get ourselves into? And to be where we are today, even with today's decision, after that initial meeting, I think is an incredible accomplishment. And to you, Mr. Chair, to Wes, you've been our dutiful chair since day one of this, since that initial meeting. And you have done an incredible job of leading this board, of leading this commission, and of bringing us down this path. And, I hope you take solace that the work will not be for naught, and that at some point in time, all of this effort will be seen through, and we will have made progress in this region. And finally, to the EMTSC staff, so both remaining and already departed, and I won't even try to name names because, again, I don't want to miss anybody, so we'll leave it at that. Just again, thank you. Many of you made some courageous decisions to come and be a part of an incredible vision, to show your belief, your trust, your confidence that this was something big, and this was going to be something incredible for the region, and it was going to be something that you wanted to be a part of. And so thank you again for all of your work up to this point, including the work that's been done since the decision was made to withdraw, and unfortunately leading us to today. I'm sorry to the residents of the Edmonton Metro region that we could not see this through to success today, but I hope there are lessons learned through this that will help us into the future. It's my hope that regional relationships can one day be repaired to the level they once were, and that for the good of the residents of the region, we can find a way to move initiatives like this forward to show the strength, vision, and success of the entire Edmonton metro region. I believe that true regional transit will one day exist, and it will be widely beneficial to all who chose this region as their home. So again, to everybody who's been involved in this journey, thank you so much for all the hard work. I share the sentiment to my fellow board members that I feel there's a lot of good that has come out of this, despite the circumstances we're faced with today, and that good will be used as we move forward to make sure that we have great regional initiatives, great regional relationships, and great regional service to all the residents in the Edmonton metro region. And we put ourselves on the world stage where we belong as an example for people to follow. Thank you very much, Mr. Chair, for the opportunity for the comments today. And again, to Wes, thank you again for your leadership as our chair through this entire process.
Thank you, Councillor Laurie. Councillor Gronberg.
Yes, thank you. I mean, being this far along with all the other members going before, there isn't too much to add, but I do want to just say that I do echo many of the comments that were already made. I really like that there is a theme that's coming out of everything that's been said so far, and it's that the vision is not dead. This will go forward, and I have been so proud and honored to have sit as a representative for Devon on this commission. Even to echo the comments of Councillor Monkoff-Swain, that I've learned so much, and I was only elected just a year and a half, and I undoubtedly am the youngest one on this board. And I just want to say that I appreciate all of the comments, the time, the effort, the side conversations, even Councillor Broadhead, our chair, even meeting with me on one occasion to sit down and try and figure out how we could work together to make Devon be a part of this and make it work. And all those little moments along the way have really meant a lot. And so I appreciate from the bottom of my heart how much that has helped me as a councillor, as a member of this board, but also as a councillor for my own community. So I appreciate that. I also want to say that I have also from the town of Devon our deep appreciation for all the staff here at the commission. It has been a pleasure working with all of you, and I wish you all the best. And like past comments have been said, we wish you the best, and we also strongly would recommend you to anyone. Lastly, the region is moving towards this. The region of, Leduc County and Leduc and Beaumont and such, but also just as the only member that doesn't have transit service currently, I can say that transit's still not dead in Devon, and that we are going to continue to move forward towards that. And that is one of my commitments to my community. So thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Gronberg. Councillor Knack.
Thank you very much. Yeah, I think going at the end, there's not much more I can say. So I don't want to repeat everything, because truly I think so many of you have far more eloquently than I would ever be able to offer gratitude to everyone who is involved. And again, that goes back to everyone involved within the staff of the EMTSC, and Paul in particular, as you've been working through this. And so my greatest thanks and gratitude, and I think Chair Broadhead said it best. So I won't repeat those comments. Similarly, to each and every one of you on this board, it's been a great privilege to work with you to go through this journey together. It has been really positive, even with the negative that caused this meeting to happen. But I think we are, even though we aren't where we wanted to be today with this particular motion in front of us, I don't believe that work was done in vain. I believe that work was done and is still going to help us get to where we need to be. It might look different, it might take longer, but I know that we're still going to get there, and it is a direct result of the work that folks have put in here on this board for many years. And I think just the main thing I wanted to do is again just thank Wes in particular. Is that Wes wasn't just there for Wes was there when it was just going to be an Edmonton and St. Albert discussion, and he's been a champion of this since the very, very beginning, and a strong proponent of this, and the work you have committed to this over the years and years and years and years is something that I hope everyone can appreciate, just how much you've put into this, how much you've given to this. It means a great deal to know that you have been committed as you have, and I mean your dedication to transit, is decades, has been for decades upon decades, not just the last few years. So I want to make sure Wes, just how much I appreciate working with you, and I think it is safe to say just how much everyone appreciates you doing this, because you have been committed to making sure there is choice for people across this region, in improving transit, knowing how critical that is to people that we represent. And so it's been you've set a bar that I don't think anyone will ever be able to surpass in the future, because of the decades of work you have done on this. So even though this particular meeting has a motion before us that is not the one any of us had hoped to have to vote on, note that all of that work you have done over the decades is going to make sure we will get where we need to be. And I know that's a direct result of the work that you put in for so long of a time. So I wanted to just make sure I personally thanked you on this. So, and beyond that, I would just echo everyone else's comments about everyone else who's spoken about today. So thank you very much.
Thank you, Councillor Knack. Councillor Harris, do you have any comments before we move on?
Other than I'm extremely disappointed. I said from the get-go that this was an opportunity to create something from scratch that very few, if any, politicians ever get a chance to do. And we were moving in the right direction. It's unfortunate that politics in a very unique way has come to put a death knell. I'm not necessarily convinced that there's a future for a broader regional transit. It would be a long time in the future, but there are opportunities for sub-regional context. But then again, we're not working as a broader region, we're working as individuals, and that is unfortunate. And Andrew, I hope you can continue to ensure that your colleagues get a better appreciation for the need for intermunicipal cooperation in the region, because I don't see that they're there or anywhere close to that. But you're the best judge of that. And as an advocate for this particular model, which ultimately would have been a very positive thing for our region, I hope that you're able to make headway with them going forward. I'm not positive of that, but if you feel that that's a given, that's great. So I am disappointed, extremely disappointed that we've gotten to this point today. It is a failure beyond failures that I've ever witnessed. And so I can't be as optimistic as all of you have so eloquently vocalized. But again, thanks to all that were involved to get it to at least this point, and Paul and Lori and Kathleen and all the people that helped behind the scenes to make it happen. All the best to all of you as you move forward in your future endeavors. So those weren't positive comments, but they're realistic comments. And those are my thoughts. And I hope we are able to move forward sub-regionally and meet the needs of transit for our communities. We will in Fort Saskatchewan. I'm not sure that there's a future to work with ETS going forward. At least I don't think there is. But there are other options, and we will follow those options up. And I suspect that we will deal with those things sub-regionally. So anyways, those are my negative comments, but they are tinged with some optimism for the future a little bit. So thanks very much.
Thank you, Councillor Harris. So just before we call the motion, I want to echo the comments of all my colleagues on the board of the EMTSC, both positive and negative, that, yeah, this has been a real shot to the stomach, if you will, having to come to this after the years and years of work. But the hardest part of this was we recruited, we hired, we coaxed people into joining this organization from the employee perspective, disrupted their lives, disrupted their lifestyles, with a promise that they were going to help us build something that would be everlasting. And when that didn't come through, the effect it has on people in their lives is one that I'm not normally known as a softie, but that, to me, that's really disheartening, is the effect it's having on the people in the equation. We as elected officials, we'll get over it, we'll move on, we'll find other ways of doing things, as been expressed here. I just hope that the employees that came in good faith, came with the vision of being able to grow with us, that they too will find a way to work themselves out of this current hole and get back to where they were and beyond in the future. So with those comments, I now ask that we
Glenn, you were muted at the end, and I think Paul wanted to speak. Sorry.
Oh, sorry. My apologies. Sorry. Go ahead, Paul.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I just wanted to take a minute as well, and hopefully you'll indulge me in, in this. I just wanted to kind of express my appreciation to a few parties as well. First and foremost, I wanted to thank very much, and you know, you've mentioned many of the sacrifices and many of the decisions that were made by your staff, the people that came on board here, and I too want to take the opportunity to thank them. This was at times a thankless exercise, and yet the folks that were here, both in the last few months, but also throughout the preceding year to 18 months, a lot of them had made the decisions to come here and build something really great. You had articulated a very compelling vision, and yes, it was premised on the voluntary participation of all 8 of your municipalities, and a lot of us were very enthused by that. The mindset that developed here was extraordinary, and I've led lots of people over my career, but this group that came together here, the 11 folks that were poised to really deliver on your vision, were extraordinary people. So I want to thank all of them, not just those that are left, Lori, Brian, and Lucas, but I also wanted to thank in particular Agata Lewandowski, who was kind of our first real employee here, and she kind of kept this ship afloat for a very long time, supporting me, supporting you, and supporting the other members of our employee group. So thank you to all of them, and thank you as well to Kathleen and Bill Shores, without whom I don't think we could have gotten this far. Their support and their advice was always bang on. It helped the board, it helped me, it helped the other employees, and I want to thank them. I also wanted to thank in particular you as the board. I've worked with hundreds of duly elected officials over my career, and the professionalism, the dedication, the vision, the passion, and the integrity that you all displayed in service of your communities and in service of what was positioned to be the greater good was truly and is truly extraordinary. You are all extraordinary political leaders for your communities, and I want to thank you very much for the opportunity of having worked with you. I don't think there are a lot of other groups that come together like this from multiple municipalities and do the hard work that you were doing. So I want to thank you all very much for the confidence that you showed in me and in your staff. This has been, you know, while it's a bittersweet day, it was a very positive experience throughout the first 18 to 20 months that we worked together. I also want to thank some of the previous board members. There were 3 members on the earlier board prior to the last municipal election. They too represented the values that you continue to represent, and they were great people for me in particular to work with. So thank you to all of you and to all of them. And Mr. Chair, finally, just want to thank you personally. You, through this exercise, a lot has been said about your leadership, but through this exercise, and I'm sure many of the board members will feel the same way, you've become not only a colleague, but you've become a friend. And so for that, I want to thank you personally. You've been a confidant of mine over the course of the last 24 months. And thank you very much for your friendship, your confidence, and your leadership. With that, I will wrap up. I will remind the board that this particular vote is one that has to happen by special resolution, and I'm glad to see that all 8 municipalities are represented here today. I would suggest, Mr. Chair, that this should be a recorded vote, and with that, I'll end my comments. Thank you all.
Thank you, Mr. Jankowski, and please, I think one more time, Councillor Broadhead, if you wouldn't mind reading the motion. It's been a few minutes since it was read. We just want to make sure it's reiterated. And we'll ask that at the end of the reading of the motion that the vote be recorded. Thank you.
I'll be happy to read the motion one more time then, Mr. Chair. That as a result of the City of Edmonton's notice to withdraw from the Commission, which has effectively rendered the Commission unable to deliver on the original stated mandate, the Commission shall be disestablished effective May 31st, 23. And Mr. Chair, if you'll indulge me for 1 second, just one name needs to be mentioned. Michael Walters, a colleague of Andrew and a colleague of mine and a colleague of us all. We wouldn't have been here without him either. And to go throughout today without mentioning his name and giving thanks to him, I think would have been a miss. And we need to say thank you to him too. With that, I close. Thank you, Mr. Finstead.
Thank you, Mr. Broadhead, for your comments. And you're absolutely right. And Councillor Broadhead was one of the primary drivers, along with yourself, from decades ago, if you will, the old CRB days, to try and bring this to fruition. So with that, all of those in favor, please signify by raising of the hand. And that vote is unanimous. Thank you very much. With that, I will also turn the chair back over to Councillor Broadhead.
Thank you very much, Councillor Finstad, and thank you for that, everybody. And that's recorded as unanimous. First off, thank you all for your generous comments. Thank you. I want you all to look in the mirror though and say congratulations to who you see in the mirror as well, because it was a team effort to get here. And yeah, I'm pretty proud of what actually got done here. So with that, I have a motion before us to move in camera. We have a couple of items of business yet to do before we adjourn. Who would care to make this motion? Councillor Harris, can I get you to do this? You're the chair of the HR committee.
Most certainly. I would move that the board move in camera in accordance with revisions of Division 2, exceptions of disclosure to the Freedom of Information and Protection of Privacy Act, FOIP, RSA 2000, Chapter F-25, as per sections 16 through 28.
Thank you very much, Councillor Harris. Call the question. All in favor, raise your hand. And that's carried unanimously. All right. We'll wait for a breakout room. And if we all, okay, perfect. Let's join the breakout room.